General Hospital spoilers tease that Kristina is sinking into a deep obsession after realizing that her impulsive actions indirectly led to Liz's tragic death. She can't escape the haunting images of the moment she cut the brake line on Ava's car, an act she thought would be a harmless prank, but which led to unforeseen consequences. Every night, Kristina is awakened by nightmares, where she sees herself chasing after Liz but never managing to stop the car from plunging over the cliff. Liz's cries for help and her terrified gaze before the car exploded are burned into Kristina's mind, becoming an unhealable wound. In the weeks following Liz's death, Kristina has tried to hide her guilt by becoming extremely proactive in comforting Liz's loved ones, especially her children. She organized fundraisers, made visits, and even offered financial assistance. However, each kind act only deepens Kristina's sense of guilt, turning her life into an unending spiral of self-blame and regret. As Kristina struggles with her guilt and regret, Sonny's increasing madness is pushing her to the breaking point. Obsessed with finding out who is responsible for Liz's death, Sonny has become increasingly violent and unpredictable. He has started to distrust everyone around him, even those closest to him, and is relentlessly pressuring Kristina to reveal any information she might know about the accident. Sonny, who has had a complicated relationship with Liz over the years, seems to feel a special responsibility to seek justice for her. He has mobilized all his resources and connections to investigate the accident, even hiring a private detective and an independent forensic expert. Each day that passes without finding the culprit makes Sonny more obsessed and dangerous. The shock comes when Kristina discovers that Sonny has begun to spy on her, placing listening devices in her room and even in her car. This drives Kristina to a breaking point. She can no longer handle the pressure of her own guilt combined with the suspicion and excessive control from her father. Kristina starts turning to alcohol and drugs to numb the pain. A self-destructive behavior she knows will only make things worse, but she can't stop. Alexis, noticing the change in her daughter's behavior, tries to intervene. She arranges a private conversation with Kristina, hoping to help her open up about what is causing her distress. However, Kristina, too scared of her mother's reaction if she reveals the truth, responds defensively and even accuses Alexis of trying to control her life, just like Sonny. In a moment of madness, Kristina decides to confess everything. She calls Dante, her brother and a police officer, to confess her actions. However, as Kristina begins to speak, she realizes that Sonny is standing right behind her, listening to every word. This moment of realization freezes Kristina, and she can't continue the call. Dante, sensing something is wrong, promises to come see Kristina immediately. The outburst occurs when Sonny, in a fit of rage and pain, reacts violently toward Kristina. For the first time in his life, Sonny has struck his daughter, leaving both of them shocked and horrified by the act. This moment completely shatters the already fragile father-daughter relationship between them. Sonny, realizing he has crossed the line, tries to apologize, but it is too late. Kristina has seen a side of her father she never thought he could show toward her. With nowhere left to turn and no one to trust, Kristina decides to leave Port Charles. She takes some money and a few personal items, leaves a short letter for her mother, Alexis, and disappears into the night. In the letter, Kristina confesses her actions regarding Ava's car and her role in Liz's death. She also expresses her fear of Sonny and her decision that she needs to leave to protect herself and seek redemption. Kristina's sudden departure not only shocks her family but also sends shockwaves through the Port Charles community, as people begin to question what really happened within the Corinthos family. Alexis, heartbroken and worried about her daughter, decides to make the letter public, hoping someone can help find Kristina before she does something dangerous. As news of Kristina's disappearance spreads, it sparks a large-scale search and opens a new tragic chapter for the Corinthos family and the entire Port Charles community. Everyone starts to wonder whether Kristina is truly safe out there, or if she is running from something, or someone, far more dangerous than they could imagine. Sonny, realizing that his actions have pushed his daughter away, falls into a state of despair. He begins searching for Kristina at any cost, using all his connections and resources. However, The more he searches, the more Sonny realizes that Kristina had planned her disappearance very carefully. She withdrew cash, turned off her phone, and even used a fake identity to buy a bus ticket to another city. Meanwhile, the Port Charles community is facing the truth about Liz's death. Her family and friends, especially her children, are struggling with feelings of betrayal and anger as they learn that her death was not an accident, but the result of a deliberate act. The question of justice and forgiveness begins to arise, as people wonder whether Kristina should be punished for her actions, or if she has already punished herself enough. As weeks pass with no news of Kristina, a growing sense of unease begins to envelop Port Charles. Is Kristina still alive? Has she found the peace she's been searching for? And will she ever return to face the consequences of her actions? These are the questions everyone is asking as they await news of the young woman who was driven to the edge by guilt, fear, and the madness of her own father. Kristina is doing everything she can to escape the tightening danger that surrounds her. On one side is Ava, seeking revenge after discovering Kristina's role in the car accident. On the other is Molly, her once close sister, now distant and hostile after Liz's death. As each day passes, Kristina feels more like a prey cornered, with no way out. The shock intensifies when Alexis, intending to protect her daughter from severe legal consequences, convinces the doctors that Kristina is going through an acute psychological crisis and needs immediate treatment. As a lawyer and a mother, Alexis uses all her connections and influence to ensure Kristina is sent for psychiatric treatment rather than face the criminal justice system. However, Alexis's plan goes awry when Kristina is not sent to a luxurious treatment facility as planned, but instead to Ferncliff Asylum, a place notorious for its harsh methods and poor living conditions. Ferncliff, with its cold stone walls and dark corridors, had once housed the most dangerous mentally ill patients in Port Charles, and now Kristina will become one of them. The decision to send Kristina to Ferncliff is no accident. Behind it is Ava's hand, secretly bribing a health official to ensure Kristina ends up in the worst possible place. For Ava, this isn't just about revenge but also about ensuring Kristina can never fully reveal the truth about the accident, especially Ava's own role in it. The disaster begins when Kristina realizes she is trapped in a facility from which she cannot escape. The doctors at Ferncliff, many of whom have been bribed by Ava, begin to treat Kristina with controversial methods, including electroshock therapy and high doses of sedatives. The goal is not to heal Kristina, but to weaken her mentally and emotionally, turning her into a hollow shell of herself. Sonny, upon learning where his daughter is, falls into a state of panic and anger. He cannot accept that Kristina, no matter what mistakes she has made, should be suffering in a place like Ferncliff. Sonny begins planning to rescue his daughter, disregarding legal consequences and potential threats. Meanwhile, Alexis struggles with feelings of guilt and responsibility. She realizes that her decision has pushed Kristina into the dangerous situation she's in. Alexis begins working through legal channels to ensure Kristina is transferred to a better facility. But she quickly realizes that there are powerful forces blocking her efforts. Molly, although still grieving and angry with Kristina, begins to doubt the current situation. She can't believe her sister deserves to suffer at Ferncliff, regardless of what she has done. Molly starts her own investigation, and in the process, she uncovers the connection between Ava and the decision to send Kristina to Ferncliff. As the situation grows more urgent, an unexpected alliance begins to form. Sonny, Alexis, and Molly, despite their differences and conflicts, realize they must put aside their disagreements to save Kristina. They begin planning the rescue, each contributing their unique skills and resources. Meanwhile, at Ferncliff, Kristina faces the hardest challenges of her life. She is isolated, treated cruelly, and constantly threatened. However, instead of being broken, Kristina begins to discover an inner strength she didn't know she had. She starts observing, learning, and making plans for herself. As Sonny, Alexis, and Molly prepare for their rescue, they don't know that Kristina has already started creating her own alliance within Ferncliff. She befriends a compassionate nurse, who has witnessed the cruel treatment Kristina has endured and can no longer stand by. This nurse begins helping Kristina, providing her with information and support. As the day of the rescue approaches, one big question remains: will Kristina be saved before it's too late? And if she is rescued, will she be able to return to normal life after everything she has been through? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The fight to save Kristina will forever change the lives of all those involved. A new story is unfolding about the bold plan Sonny and Alexis are quietly building to help Kristina escape a murder charge. The two, despite frequent disagreements in parenting, have now set aside all differences to protect their daughter at any cost. This plan is not only complicated but also risky, requiring perfect coordination between all parties involved. Sonny, with his connections in the underworld, begins creating an entirely new narrative for the accident. He hires top forensic experts to reassess the scene and create new evidence suggesting the accident could have been caused by a mechanical fault in the car, rather than intentional sabotage. At the same time, Sonny also makes contact with potential witnesses, ensuring their testimony will support this new story. Alexis, with her deep legal knowledge, is building a multi-layered defense strategy. She has hired a strong team of lawyers, including Diane, her longtime friend and rival. Their strategy involves questioning the legality of the evidence, creating doubt about the investigation process, and even preparing a temporary insanity argument if necessary. The shock comes when Kristina, unaware of her parents' plan, begins developing her own plan, a plan that could destroy all of Sonny and Alexis's efforts. During her time at Ferncliff, Kristina has had plenty of time to reflect on her actions and their consequences. She has decided that she does not want to escape punishment by lying or manipulating the system. Instead, she wants to fully confess and accept the consequences of her actions. Kristina's crazy plan includes holding a press conference as soon as she is released from Ferncliff, where she will publicly admit her actions and apologize to Liz's family. She believes this is the only way she can truly heal and move on with her life. Kristina starts writing a long, detailed letter about every aspect of the incident, intending to send it to the media if she can't hold the press conference. When Sonny and Alexis discover Kristina's plan, they panic. They realize that all their efforts could be in vain if Kristina is determined to confess. This puts them in an ethical dilemma: should they respect their daughter's decision? Or should they proceed with their plan to protect her, even if it goes against her wishes? Meanwhile, an unexpected factor arises when Cameron, Liz's son, returns to Port Charles after hearing about his mother's death. Full of grief and anger, Cameron begins his own investigation into the accident. With the help of Jocelyn and Trina, Cameron is getting closer to the truth, and it's only a matter of time before he discovers Kristina's role. As the situation grows more complex, an inevitable confrontation is brewing between Kristina, Sonny, Alexis, and Cameron. Each with their own motives and goals, but all revolving around one central question. Does justice for Liz mean Kristina must pay with her freedom? Port Charles is standing on the brink of a new storm, where the line between right and wrong, between protection and betrayal, between justice and forgiveness will be tested to its limits. And at the center of this storm is Kristina, a girl trying to find herself again after losing so much. Madness is gradually taking over Kristina's mind, pulling her into a dangerous downward spiral with no way out. Her days at Ferncliff not only fail to calm Kristina but also deepen her rage and hatred toward Ava. Every night, lying on the hard bed in the cold room, Kristina relives the moment she discovered that Ava knew about her sabotaging the car but still allowed Liz to use it. In Kristina's mind, Ava is the one truly responsible for Liz's death. The madness begins when Kristina, with the help of a sympathetic nurse, escapes from Ferncliff on a stormy night. Instead of seeking help from her family or friends, Kristina disappears into the darkness with one goal in mind: to take revenge on Ava. She cuts her hair short, dyes it black, and completely changes her appearance, transforming herself into someone entirely different, someone even her closest loved ones would have trouble recognizing. While Sonny, Alexis, and the entire city of Port Charles are searching for Kristina, she begins following Ava's every move. Kristina rents a small apartment across from Ava's gallery, where she can observe everything Ava does. She carefully notes Ava's daily schedule, the people she meets, and even her smallest habits. The danger escalates when Kristina begins to approach those around Ava. She successfully befriends a new employee at the gallery, using a fake identity and a convincing story about being a young art collector. Through this employee, Kristina is able to get closer to Ava, even being invited to an upcoming private exhibition. Kristina's plan goes beyond just approaching Ava. She starts sending anonymous threatening letters to the gallery, each letter containing personal details about Ava's life that could only have been known by someone who had been closely following her. Kristina wants Ava to feel unsafe, to know that someone is watching her every move. Meanwhile, a series of mysterious deaths begin occurring in Port Charles. The first is an art critic who had written a negative review of Ava's exhibition. Next is a former business partner of Ava's, who had swindled her in a deal. Each death is disguised as an accident or suicide, but Jordan and her team of investigators begin to suspect that a serial killer is operating in Port Charles. The big shock comes when Avery, Ava and Sonny's daughter, almost becomes the next victim in an accident at school. Fortunately, a teacher intervenes just in time to save Avery from danger. This incident terrifies both Sonny and Ava, prompting them to temporarily set aside their conflicts to protect their daughter. When investigators start connecting the dots between the deaths and the Avery incident, they realize that all the victims are somehow linked to Ava. This places Ava in the position of a potential target or worse, a suspect. Sonny, with his strong protective instincts, begins to suspect that Kristina may be behind all these events. He realizes that his daughter's hatred for Ava may have evolved into something far more dangerous. Sonny begins searching for Kristina with a renewed sense of urgency, not only to protect her but also to stop her from doing something irreversible. As Ava's private exhibition approaches, the tension in Port Charles reaches its peak. Kristina, with her new identity, has been confirmed to attend. Ava, despite her fear of the threats, decides to go ahead with the exhibition, refusing to let fear control her life. On the night of the exhibition, all eyes are on Ava's gallery. Sonny, Alexis, Jason, and even Dante are present, hoping to find Kristina before it's too late. What no one knows is that Kristina has been planning for tonight for a long time, and she has prepared a final act, a dramatic performance that will change the lives of everyone involved forever. When the lights in the gallery suddenly go out and a horrific scream rings out, Port Charles knows that a new tragedy has begun. And in that darkness, no one can be sure who will survive and who will become the next victim in the ever-growing list of deaths.